Yep, of course the cat is unhelpfully chewing away off in the background, which is not a great start.
It's fine. He's competing against the birds.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. On 3, 2, 7.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello, dear listener, and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin, and with me, as always, is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
Me, personally? Not a lot this week.
Good.
To be honest, it continues to be just sort of working out what I'm doing next. And I don't know. Meanwhile, at time of recording, like genuinely a few minutes ago, the latest episode of the project that I voice act for has come out.
Ta-da!
And assuming that the issues that were found in the drafts have been fixed, it should be a really good episode.
Good. Do you want to give it a plug?
Sure. Battle for Dream Island, The Power of Two, Episode 10, Onerophobe's Nightmare, is now out. It involves nightmares. Yep.
Good. Contains themes.
Yep, it certainly contains themes.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And hopefully it contains good audio balance.
Oh, that was the problem, was it?
That was the big one.
Okay.
That was a lot of the notes that people had. But it's up now, and sort of trying a new thing with the voting system. Historically, the way that voting in Battle for Dream Island has worked is that you'd comment with your vote. And comments are all public, and there's an API for grabbing comments, and so people will tally in advance unofficially, and that leads to shifting and changing of votes over the course of...
Right.
This is the sort of thing that a secret ballot is supposed to solve. And so we're going with a secret ballot.
Wow.
We have opened up a Google form, which hopefully will not be crushed under the weight of the typically thousands and thousands of votes that are involved in any given episode.
Do you know that used to be called the Australian voting system?
Yes, the Australian ballot, yeah. Then it spread and was still called the Australian ballot for some reason.
Don't know why.
So, if you want to check that out, check it out.
Indeed, the link will be in the show notes.
And hopefully you can hear me over the music.
Did you get a pre-listen?
Yes.
Okay.
I had some notes.
Yeah.
It is my fault that caffeine is spelt correctly.
Your fault.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. If I'd not said anything, it would have been someone else's fault that it wasn't.
And now it's your fault that it is.
Yes.
Hello, deranged cat.
I will take all of the blame for caffeine being spelt correctly.
Good.
No praise, only blame. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've been all over the place. I've been to donate plasma again and broke the machine. The machine decided to freeze in the middle of draining my vital essence. So they had to unplug me and unplug the machine and then stuff me full of electrolytes because the normal procedure that it goes through is at the end it tops you up intravenously with a saline solution to replace your fluid.
Which you can do direct like for like.
Yeah.
But not so much if you have to do it by other methods.
No, so all sorts of drink this. Make sure you have lots to drink and have salty stuff. But that was after I'd raced halfway across town to drop off my CPAP machine to be, in quotes, serviced. I knew that it was well and truly due to be replaced, but no amount of pre-warning them would have them accept that that was the case. And so, of course, after my bloodletting and heading off towards my therapist's appointment, I get a phone call saying, "Oh, we need you to come in to sign some forms because your machine is being replaced." So it's all fun and games. Yeah. So I have a new Darth Vader machine that helps me breathe at night, and it's the next model up, and so I get a little more feedback as far as how my night actually went. And so I basically stop breathing a couple of times every hour.
Yep.
And the machine makes sure that I keep breathing. And yeah, it's a fairly important thing to be strapped to at night. It's a little awkward, uncomfortable, but you get used to it. I've been using it for a number of years now, but I have the new machine.
Second verse, same as the first.
Yeah. My macro keyboard for editing was lost in limbo for a week and a half, and I finally got sick and tired of it not moving, so I sent them an email. I got a auto message saying, "We will get back to you in the next 2 business days." And so got a message from them today saying, "We have an update. The update is we're still investigating." Good. And then out of the blue, my phone plinged saying that it had been delivered. And so it had supposedly been sitting in Melbourne for a week and a half, and then suddenly it appeared in our letterbox.
Yep.
And now I've got to sort out how to program that. I didn't have a great deal of success with the mouse option.
Mm-hmm.
It worked, but it was a lot for my right hand to be doing.
Yeah.
So I needed to share the load, and I think it's going to be a lot quicker having...
And this macro keyboard comes with knobs.
It does. It has knobs with knobs on. Yes, so good.
Knobs with buttons.
Yep. I don't think I've got anything else that I wish to mention. No, got nothing. So, we've got a film to watch.
We certainly do have a film to watch.
Okay, a little disclaimer. Between last week and this week, it has been discovered that the film that we were planning to watch, Fargo, contains a great deal of furry words in it.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with consuming media with furry words.
And I have softened to endure such things. That being said, these films are watched in the Deranged Cat studio, which also doubles as the house's lounge room. And the sound tends to echo all through the house, and there are ears that are somewhat more sensitive to said furry words. And so an executive decision has been made to keep the extended Deranged Cat studio and its environs a little less furry word. What am I trying to say?
A little less furry. Just a little less furry.
Yeah. The Deranged Cat is enough. So
if we find a way, I'm sure we'll eventually get back to Fargo, but that'd take a lot of planning.
Yeah. But you can certainly go ahead and watch it. As I've said, I have seen it and completely forgot that is the case.
The good news is I have an old Blu-ray player in my room, and I can plug headphones into it by way of an adapter.
Mm-hmm. So you have that option.
I do.
So you are going to throw another movie at me.
Yes.
Sight unseen, I do not know what we're in for today.
So this is the third of the films that I picked up from 2 JB Hi-Fis a few weeks back.
Yep.
And it continues on the theme that I've stated of the flexibility of truth. Of course, Fargo, it's that it claims to be a true story. And it's not. It's not a true story. These things didn't happen.
Right. Are you sure?
This film, this third film, also claims to be based on a true story.
Right.
It's from 2023.
Right.
And it was originally released on a streaming service that we don't have access to because it doesn't happen in Australia, and is currently on a streaming service that we don't have access to because we don't want to pay for it.
Right. And it's a movie that came out in 2023.
It is.
And it claims to be a true story and continues your theme of The flexibility of truth. Okay.
Yes. And it also claims to be a biopic.
Right. Nah, got nothing.
It stars Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, really?
It does.
Okay. Do I have to get my piano accordion out?
Oh, you might do.
We'll have some Oompa music.
Yeah. You might have been wondering at the end of the last episode why I was so fond of the word weird.
Ah. No, I hadn't picked that up at all.
No. That's fair enough.
No. So, Weird Al.
Yes.
What is the name of the actual movie?
It is called Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. And I have it sitting in this box over here.
That is handy because you need to give us a plot synopsis.
I do.
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah?
It's still under wraps.
It is. Wouldn't you know it?
Well, before you unwrap it, or after you unwrap it, would you like to do the unwrapping before or after the reading of the plot synopsis?
First, I'd like a little more light. Okay, Google, lights. That has not helped. It's sort of a dark pinky purple on black.
Good.
Very helpful. From the big screen to Broadway, the telling of music stars... And also slightly dusty, which makes me think there was a comma there that wasn't. Okay, I'm going to start again.
It's not an Oxford comma, it's a roving comma.
No, in fact, it's an apostrophe.
An apostrophe.
From the big screen to Broadway, the telling of music stars' lives is all the rage. Now comes the outrageous biopic of the unique artist who gained fame and fortune by parodying hit songs. A true life story about the man who turned twisting popular lyrics into a hugely successful career had to be equally twisted, befitting the man, the myth, the legend, known to the world as Weird Al Yankovic.
Thomas is going to unwrap the case.
You know, it's a Blu-ray, so, you know, typically they're easier to unwrap, right? Yeah. This is not difficult at all.
He's going to endeavour to do it without constantly bumping the microphone cable.
Well...
He's going to open the case. He's going to take the disc out of the case. He's going to pop it into the machine. We are going to watch it, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
Oompa, 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 mongrel, 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 mongrel.
No, I'm not doing a polka version of the theme song.
I think you should.
Yeah, I know
okay,
I should.
Dear listener, let's have some votes. Should Thomas do a polka version?
There are lots of things that I should do. Whether I'll get to them or not is another thing.
Okay.
Anyway, here's side B.
So, what did you think?
I enjoyed the film, but that's not without a few caveats.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little uneven.
It's terribly uneven.
And I hate to say it, but I think the obligatory we are going to do one of the songs segments are the weakest points in the film.
Yeah. It's interesting that it reminded me very much of watching Hot Shots. Mm-hmm. With the unevenness of that certain things work really, really well, but other things fell flat. And that was throughout the film, but in that it was strongest at the beginning. This, really bounced. Mm-hmm. I still don't quite have my head around how I felt, but there's that definite feeling of I wanted to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
And it kept outstaying its welcome and then making a desperate grab and okay, all right, we'll give you a chance again, and then dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Very uneven.
I suppose that is the risk with parody, though, isn't it?
It is. And it is also, certainly as far as his work is concerned, some work really, really well for me and others just don't. So there's an unevenness there as well that it has to contend with the particular songs that they chose to run with. There were some that already had it against them with my own personal experience with those pieces of music. And it's very much a case of your mileage will vary depending on how much of a fan you are to his works and which particular ones you really like and which ones aren't so much favourites.
The film came about because Funny or Die, well over a decade ago now, put out a fake trailer for Weird, the Al Yankovic Story.
Oh, okay.
Which is why they're involved in the making of the film. And so this concept had been bubbling over for 13 odd years. And then they made it.
Finally, it feels wrong to make any spoilers for a film that is one of the more recent on our watch lists. So I won't, but that decision, with it percolating for so long, it was a choice. What felt strange to me was that I fairly recently watched Rocket Man, which is, again, semi-autobiographical, based on the life of Elton John. And there is certainly a heavy level of fiction mixed with truth, and trying to wade through what is real and what isn't is a bit harder in Rocket Man. You would use possibly a six-sided dice to decide what's true in Rocket Man. You could use the same dice and anything over one.
This is all definitely based on events that happened in this order. But
actually, I retract that. I would suggest a D20, and anything over one is fiction.
And alas, you roll a 1, that's a critical fail, so it's not true anyway.
The other thing that threw me completely out of the film was the My Sharona song playing, in that I heard that today in a store playing. So the juxtaposition of that happening, and it had an extra layer of freakiness in that I was very conscious of it in the store that I was in that the floor layout of this store was fairly large.
Yep.
So it had quite a large footprint. But there are only 2 speakers in the entire store, and they were speakers from a old stereo. And so it was playing from a stereo. So the left-handed speaker was on one corner of the room, and the right channel was on the diagonally opposite corner of the room. So very, very wide separation of tracks. And
if you were at one end or the other, you get very little of...
Yeah. And for a moment there, when I was first listening to it, I'm thinking, oh, somebody's phone is going off with a tune that actually syncs up with this really, really well. And then I realised, no, that's actually one of the guitar parts that is so separated by this stereo separation that yeah, it's quite bizarre. Anyway, that is beside the point.
Weird coincidences are sort of what this podcast thrives on, isn't it?
Absolutely. Speaking of weird coincidences, I have nothing else to say about this film. Do you?
No, it was all right.
That's a weird coincidence.
I'm happy to have seen it, and I might see it again, but...
I was happy to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I would bother watching it again. Yeah, meh.
Yeah.
Meh-ish. I was impressed with how well Daniel Radcliffe played the role. He did a decent job of it.
No, by the way, it was not nominated for an Oscar. It never saw theatres.
No.
In the US.
No, I didn't think it.
Yankovic did ask, and Roku declined.
Please. Please.
And so, Roku being a streaming service, it went to the Emmys instead.
Where it collected a whole heap of prizes.
It was nominated for a Grammy for Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media.
Right.
And it was nominated for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series or Movie for the Emmys, and Outstanding Writing for a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie. Didn't win.
So it wasn't outstanding then?
Well, it was nominated. It was
It was
standing.
not outstanding enough.
It was standing.
Right. Was it in standing as opposed to outstanding?
It was in good standing.
Good. All right. Well, if you have nothing else to say about this film, and I have nothing else to...
Sorry. It also won the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Television Movie. Why is that not in the accolades section of Wikipedia?
You missed that.
Because it wasn't in the accolades section. I don't know what to tell you.
Look, it was probably tacked on once the awards were actually done, as opposed to when the first person created the initial Wikipedia article. That is the big weakness of Wikipedia.
I think this one's just a thing that they've missed. Because I don't see how they would gloss over the award for Outstanding Television Movie.
Which is why I always go to IMDb rather than Wikipedia.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
The following segment has no title. Thank you.
What have we got?
We will start over on Facebook with Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Who on March the 7th, 2024 said, "I'm so far behind," with a crying emoji. I suspect that when she listens to this podcast, it will not be anywhere near the 14th of March 2024 when it goes out.
So we could say absolutely anything.
Anything at all.
And then randomly, out of the blue, we'll suddenly get this comment saying, "How dare you say that?" So we won't say anything cruel or nasty, other than the main impetus and reason that we started the podcast again was just for Helen.
Yes. That was the only reason.
Yeah. And how are we treated?
That was... Oh, dear. Jill, in reply...
Hi, Jill. Who's Jill?
Another relative of ours.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
We have more than one relative.
Wow. Relatively speaking.
Says that she's binge listened to about 15 episodes from 2021 in the last few days.
Crazy person.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It is a lot. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But welcome.
Yeah.
We're going to have to watch what we say now. All these relatives popping up.
Oh dear. And Jill then asks, on episode 19 of this podcast...
Ah, good old episode 19.
On Flight of the Navigator, did Kmart end up getting that robot?
I meant to go back to listen to that episode to find out what the relevance of that question was. I know that Kmart was planning to put robots in their store to wander around the aisles at night, checking locations of things. But I have it on good authority that they do, and I've provided a photo that we shall, I don't know, where do we put photos?
I think that one, I will upload to my MISC folder. And that'll work out.
It'll be stuck in a filing cabinet in a disused lavatory at the bottom of the stairs with a sign on the door saying, "Beware of the leopard."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very accessible.
Yeah.
Good. Very much on display.
Yes. Good.
Over on Discord, Entuosferatu.
Hi, Entuosferatu.
Says, do I need to see Outland? I might need to see Outland, or maybe just watch 2010 again. It's been a long time.
Look, if you can get your hands on it, just watch it, just so you can say that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But I do encourage you to watch 2010 again.
He continues, I have also never seen Fargo, and I definitely should. I still haven't.
And I have. And If you have anyone in the household, Entu Osferatu, who is sensitive to the furry word, then you have been warned. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Speaking of Entu Osferatu, I want to reflect back on the comment that you made about The Princess Bride and Mandy Patinkin, having only also seen him in Dead Like Me. My Patinkin ignorance extended to not knowing until last Sunday that he's a pretty amazing singer too. Mm-hmm. He has sung numerous times on the David Letterman show, including singing Impromptu, and I put that in quotes because all of these late night shows tend to ask their guests to impromptu perform, and they seem to do an incredibly well-rehearsed job of it.
There's a joke with Conan O'Brien and Paul Rudd.
Right.
Where Paul Rudd will be on to promote whatever show or movie that he's in at the time. And he will get to the point where he is supposed to play a clip from whatever it is, but instead will play a clip from the terrible E.T. knockoff Mac and Me.
Was he in that?
No. No, it's completely unrelated.
Good grief.
And
That's funny.
It always seems to take Conan by surprise. It even went onto a podcast, an audio format.
Fool me once, shame on you.
And of course, in audio, the clip from Mac and Me. Always the same clip from Mac and Me. It's the kid in the wheelchair falling down the cliff. And then...
Right, I will take your word for it because I have never watched Mac and Me.
Well, neither have I.
Guess what we're watching next week?
I've just seen that one clip several times because Paul Rudd keeps playing it.
That is clever.
Yeah.
But
and I put surprise in quotes as far as Conan O'Brien because he knows it's coming.
Like the impromptu. Yeah. But I will include a clip from the David Letterman show where Mandy Patinkin sings Over the Rainbow. He's got an incredible voice. I mean, he did when he performed this. He's a lot older now. I don't know how his voice is now. That is neither here nor there.
E of Pie, also over on Discord.
Hi, E of Pie.
Says, I don't think I've ever heard of this film, referring to Outland, I assume, and I think possibly similar, referring back to Entu Osferatu saying he's never seen Fargo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I had time to see movies, given the fact a small person recently appeared in my house, congratulations and or condolences on that.
You can call people when you have small people suddenly appearing in your house. That's freaky, that is. I will never forget the day when 3 small people appeared in it. Actually, they didn't all arrive home at once, so yeah. Yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about that. I don't really understand it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why would that have happened?
You were one of the weirdest.
But yes,
completely unprepared for you. My goodness. We still have a pacifier of yours in a little box. We kept one of your pacifiers.
Right.
Or we call them dummies here. Not pacifiers, but I'm translating. Anyway, kept in a box, and there are teeth marks in the handle of this pacifier.
Uh-huh.
Not your teeth. Mine.
Right.
You were a shocker at night. Pace and bounce and bite down on this pacifier. Anyway.
I got better.
Oh, perhaps. So, E of Pie, I really do hope that your nights are quiet and peaceful and your little invader is sleeping well.
And that you find the time to see Dune 2.
Yes. Indeed. Which I'm holding off until you have the opportunity to do so.
Yes, I haven't seen the first one yet.
Are you serious?
No, didn't find the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad, that is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, again, you should see my backlog. It's,
Yeah, but, you got to shift things, yeah. I would suggest shifting things and watch it. It is on the shelf.
Yeah. I know.
In all its blueness.
I gotta...
Or beigeness. Sandy beige.
You have to remember that I have a backlog for all my backlogs. So...
Beige ray. All right.
And I think that takes us up to the guesses.
I'd better bring up my photo of the file name that I used for Outland.
Even though it's listed in the doc. So, we also received correspondence on YouTube from Dunkel.
Hi, Dunkel.
And on Twitter from M.
Hi, M.
They both had the same guess, as did Entosferatu and E of Pi.
Right. So which one did M choose?
Well, M chose Outland, spelt Outland.
Right. And you're suggesting that everyone copied M?
No. Actually, I think M's was the last one to come in.
Right. Okay. So M copied everyone else?
No, I suspect not.
Right. M, I am not, I promise, not seriously suggesting any foul play from anyone.
The only one who I think might have, but I'm not saying did, was E of Pi, seeing as his guess came directly after Entosferatu's in the same channel, so...
Yes, but E of Pi is sleep deprived.
Yes.
And probably did not even read that far.
No.
Through Entosferatu's comments.
Well, you see, they both put their guesses in spoiler tags, so presumably he didn't even look at it before.
I'm sure he didn't.
No.
So everyone guessed Outland.
Yep.
And what did Colin choose for the file name last week? Outland.
Congratulations.
Yay, we have a clean sweep again.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone. Thank you for your selection.
And now it gets complicated.
It gets very complicated.
Because...
we did not watch Fargo.
We didn't watch Fargo, and he didn't know what the film was when he was writing the file name.
No idea.
E of Pi has asked, 5 letters and 6 spaces. Can we get clarity in next week's episode if it actually is shorter than 6? First of all, no. What? What? You think I'm here to help you with this game?
I am going to help you, dear people. I did not know the title of the film that we were watching today. However, I did know that there was a reason why we didn't watch Fargo. And that reason is what I used as the basis of the file name. To stress and clarify that just a little further, there are no F's in the file name.
Great.
So good luck, everyone. I'm not sure whether we will get a clean sweep next.
Yes, that makes sense.
Good. I have just shown Thomas what I selected, and it does apparently make sense.
It does. It does make sense.
Right.
Will anyone get it?
No. All right. That's all that out of the way. Please, have a go and see whether you can guess what file name I used for this episode. We shall move on now.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
It's your turn.
It is my turn, and I have actually selected something.
Oh.
And technically, it is a film that's still under wraps. Except it isn't because it was second-hand, so it was already unwrapped.
Right.
More confusingly, there is already a copy of this film on the shelf.
Yep, that happens sometimes.
It does. However, the copy that I got for us to watch next week arrived today.
Right.
No looking at the files.
No, I'm not looking at the files. I'm
Good. All right.
busy putting in the table in the next comments.
Okay.
Doc.
Now, I want you to reiterate what theme you have been using recently.
I have been looking completely by accident
Yes.
at films around the flexibility of the truth.
Okay. Well, I am going to continue on with that theme.
Oh.
And I'm going to continue on with the theme of Outland
Uh-huh.
and 2010.
Right.
In that, the film that we're watching next week is also directed by the same director who directed those two films. And he directed it 3 years? Yes, 3 years before Outland. So this is a film that came out in 1978. It is a science fiction film,
Yeah.
and it starred...
Dear listener, I am predicting that this information will be of little use to me. Just want that on the record. Well in
I
advance.
don't think you've seen it. The reason that I ordered another copy was that the copy that I have on the shelf is pan and scan.
Oh, yeah.
And it is so difficult to get in non-pan and scan. Even when they released it on Blu-ray,
Oh, no.
they continued to push it out on pan and scan. There is a couple of American copies floating around that are in widescreen. This copy that I got today is ostensibly in widescreen, but on DVD in the widescreen on a 4x3.
Yeah, that's a classic, that is. Widescreen in 4x3. Suppose we'll be making use of the zoom function.
We will. I tested it today, and you can zoom in and it'll letterbox it, so top and bottom bars, and also just cuts off the left and right.
Yeah.
But it's still better than a 4x3 pan and scan on a widescreen television. All right, I've rambled on for long enough. This film stars Elliot Gould, James Brolin,
Yeah.
Brenda Vaccaro, O.J. Simpson,
Right.
Telly Savalas.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm going to read you the plot synopsis. In order to protect the reputation of the American space program... Oh, no, this is going to give away too much.
Well, I'm probably not going to guess it anyway, am I?
No, you're not. Okay. Next week, we're watching the 1977/1978 sci-fi thriller.
Probably an international release gap messing you up there.
Everyone's screaming into my headphones right now. It's Capricorn 1! It's obvious! We're watching Capricorn 1.
I've never heard of this film.
Right. Well, that's what we're watching next week. I'm not going to give anything else away. We hope that you can join us. Good luck trying to track down a copy of it. If you are in Australia, you can watch it on SBS at the moment. It's a brief window showing on SBS in widescreen, but with ads, of course. But there we go. So if you're in Australia and you want to watch it before we record next week.
And ads that actually function and appear where they are supposed to.
Yes, rather than halfway through a scene.
Or just once at the beginning for the streaming service that you are currently using.
We hope that you can join us next week when we watch Capricorn 1. But until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
Sick and tired of it not moving, so I sent them an email, and
Yeah, house just shifted. Does that sometimes.
yeah,